Hey there, it's John from Heroes and Legends. Today I have another Commander 2016 product opening for you. Today we're going to look at Stalwart Unity. So, if you've been watching this series, you kind of know what to expect. We're just unboxing these, basically. So you're going to see what comes with this product when you purchase it, as I hit the camera. And you're going to get to see what cards are in the deck. And I'll give you my thoughts, some high-level thoughts on the deck itself. And what I think as far as its constructed and playability and stuff. Now, if you're looking for a more in-depth review, I already did that with each of these decks, so I will leave a link at the end of the video if you want to learn more about the individual cards in this deck and what I thought about them. So you can check that video out. This is more of an unboxing, so you get to see kind of what's in here. Now, we'll begin with, like all of these, we get one oversized commander. It is the 4-color commander, so there you go. Not too different from what we've seen in the other ones. And of course, let's open this up. A few things here. Here's your cards, of course. You get the reference card, which seems to be pretty well standard with all Magic products nowadays. And I'll quickly unfold the poster here. I mentioned this in the last two, but the poster a little smaller than it used to be, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. They used to be kind of huge. Sometimes maybe a little cumbersome to unfold and refold. But you're going to get a little bit of information about your commander and your partner commanders, which is actually pretty cool because a lot of these characters haven't seen, I don't know, a ton of space in the lore, so any information's welcome. And then on the other side, you have the deck list. And I mentioned this in the other two videos, but a little disappointing they don't tell you where the cards were originally printed like they used to in some of these products, but there you go. And yeah, some of the space is taken up with some ads, which is also a little different from the past. But again, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just a little bit smaller and less space. All right, let's crack open the cards and see what actually is in this deck. And as I go through, I'll kind of talk a little bit about some of the key cards and kind of what this deck's trying to do. So bear with me 1 second as I zoom in and we get a closer look at the cards. All right, I'm back, and let's take a close look at the cards. We're going to start off with 4-color commander, Kenios and Tyro Militis. And I probably said that wrong, but hopefully I'm at least close. This is your 4-color commander, and this deck altogether, basically, it's trying to be sort of a group hug deck, but at the same time, it's also just trying to give your opponents incentive to attack each other, which is actually really cool. Very bold to have a concept like this out of the box, I think. The downside is if people know what you're up to, especially if they're familiar with the deck list, they may kind of all turn on you, but the concept here is you build this huge wall of defense around you, and then you give your opponents tools to defeat each other. Really awesome idea. So I'm looking forward to trying this deck out, and you're going to notice as we go through the cards that they kind of play into this. Our first partner commander is Krum Ludwig's Opus. One thing real quick too I want to say, I mentioned this in the other two videos, but the foiling is awesome. I mean, there's no warping on these, there's no fraying on the edges. Came out really nice looking. They don't look overly foiled. Fantastic. We have Ludwig, Necro Alchemist. A little bit of a controversial partner here just because there's a lot of lore behind this particular creature or this character. And unfortunately, the card doesn't really pay off to that lore. And I mean, the ability makes sense in this deck, but it could have been any card, right? They could have made a whole new character for that. So I think that disappointed some people. Hopefully we'll see another card with this character in the future that's a little more, I guess, speaks to what the essence of the lore is a little better. And finally, we have Sidar Kondo of Jamura. Awesome art on this one. I really like that art. It's beautiful, especially in foil. Looks awesome. All right, let's quickly look at our tokens. We have Soldier token with a Elemental 4/4 flyer on the back. We have a colorless 1/1 Spirit token with a 1/1 white flying token on the back for spirits. Another Spirit and Spirit. Another Spirit and Spirit. Another Spirit and Spirit. And we have a Soldier with a squid on the back. Soldier, squid. Soldier, another Elemental. Bird, 2/2 flyer with an ogre on the back. Beast with an ogre on the back. All right, let's get into the rest of the deck quickly. And I'll kind of just thumb through these relatively quick. I don't want the video to be too long, but I'll point out some of the key cards and also the new cards. Humble Defector. Completely makes sense in this deck. A lot of times you're giving your opponents tools, which means sometimes giving them your cards. There's also a way to get those cards back as a sub-theme as well if you need to, but cool inclusion. Ours of Advocist, one of the new cards, so that's cool. Soul Rings, always good to see Soul Rings. Keep them coming so the card doesn't go up in value anymore. Evolutionary Escalation. This one of the new cards as well. Feels a little better to me in this deck than the deck we saw a couple days ago, Open Hostility. Just feels like it's still a high variance card, but maybe you can't punish you as easily in this deck as it can in the other one. Ghostly Prison. Nice reprint here. This was reprinting Conspiracy Take the Crown. At that point, it was like $7, $8 uncommon, so nice to see it reprinted yet again here. I think that's a good thing. Propaganda. I mean, exactly what this deck's trying to do. Trying to prevent people from attacking you. Sphere of Safety doing the same thing. Swords to Plowshares, one of the best removal spells ever printed. Yeah, Arcane Denial. Beast Within, another great removal spell for green. Sylvan Reclamation, this one is a new card as well with basic land cycling. A couple ways to fix your mana here. Migratory Route, another one of the new cards. Treacherous Train, another one of the new cards. All of those basic land cyclers. We run into a few basic lands already, so I'll just go through these quick. You've seen these already in the other videos if you've watched them. But just quickly, again, great cycles painted by Kev Walker, Rebecca Guay, and Mark Poole for each land type. Really awesome stuff here. Fantastic art. All right, and we're back into the regular cards. We have Seeds of Renewal. This is the Undaunted card of the deck. Each deck has one Undaunted card. There's a cycle, one for each color. This one gets the green. Great card. Seadrew, the Great-Hearted. This is an awesome reprint. This was a card that was up around $10. So kind of a nice inclusion here. There's some more spiky Seadrew decks out there, so that's kind of why that card was worth a little more. But this kind of works more into the sub-theme here of kind of taking your stuff back after it's been given away. But a real nice inclusion. Another Mythic here. This one from Dragon's Maze, I believe. I like Hushwing Griff. I think that's a cool inclusion too. This is a card that's worth a couple dollars, I think. Chasm Skulker is another cool one. Edric, another past commander card. Back again. Works a little differently in this deck though than others. This time you're using it more of a way to create a situation where your opponents are going to want to attack each other as opposed to you actually getting the advantage. Another unique reprint there. Selvala from the original Conspiracy. Hitting a lot of the rares right now. Blazing Akron, always a good card. I mean, especially in Commander and like some cubes as well. Howling Mine, you're going to see you're going to have your opponents drawing a lot of cards in this deck too, which could eventually even be a win condition through decking them, but you're giving them all the resources they need to basically take each other out, which is interesting. Oath of Druids, huge reprint here. I mean, not a super expensive card necessarily, like it's probably running about $5, $6 before it was reprinted here, but it's a card that gets a lot of vintage play. Combos very well with the card we're going to see in a few moments. And sure, you can pull off this combo here as well, especially towards the end of the game when it's one-on-one. But yeah, really cool to just see this card reprinted. Swan Song, that's what your swan's for. Your swan token. Reigns of Power, got some new art. Actually looks pretty cool. Mine's a Glow, there's a nice inclusion too. As well as Collective Voyage. Those weren't cheap cards either. Attempt to Discovery. It's another cool one. And we're getting into some non-basics now. Forbidden Orchard, of course, is the card I alluded to a few moments ago that plays really well with Oath of the Druids. And we got some more basic lands. That's the first time we've seen them separated like this when we open the product, but why not? And I'm assuming the rest will be our non-basics. Ash Barrens is another one of the new cards. You can find one of these in each of the decks. Command tower is always good. This is a kind of a quasi-fetch land, sort of. I mean, not as fast as a normal fetch land, but interesting inclusion there. Nice reprint. Opal Palace, always nice to have in Commander. And there you go. We'll wrap things up with Selesnya Sanctuary. So yeah, overall, looking very forward to playing this deck. I mentioned it already at the beginning of the video, but very bold inclusion here that they went ahead and created a deck like this out of the box. I think that's awesome. Kudos to the Wizards for just not giving us just another kind of normal archetype. You know, not that there's anything wrong with normal archetypes, but you see things like we already saw, you know, the +1/+1 counters deck, and pretty soon we're going to open the artifact deck, right? So it's cool to see something that's just a little off the wall. Like I said, downside being, well, if people know what you're up to, they're probably going to catch on real quick. Whereas the strength of this deck is having opponents guess what your strategy is, at least in the beginning, before they start seeing the wall of defense go up, right? So that makes it kind of interesting, considering a lot of people will be very aware of what this deck does if you play it out of the box. As far as upgrades go, I would say the deck has tons of card draw in it. So until I sit down and play it, it's going to be hard for me to say what there is enough or not enough of, because you have to consider you're going to be drawing a lot of cards when you play this deck. A couple of things I would probably think about adding is maybe some more mill win conditions. There's only really one card that's going to flat out mill your opponent, and there's a lot of cards that are allowing them to draw. So some additional mill effects could actually be a nice secondary win condition for this deck. I also feel that you could probably do well with some other defensive cards too. You have some good ones in here, but if you're all in on this wall of defense, then you probably want some more cards that will do that, or else at least some ways to get them back from the graveyard. So a lot of them are enchantments, just ways to bring enchantments back from the graveyard to your hand or something like that might be good. They do give you some nice pinpoint removal, like Swords to Plowshares, to deal with some of the creatures that might sneak past your defenses. But I feel like I just want a little more defense than that. So there could be some other cards that you could creatively put in there. As always, the mana base obviously could be upgraded. If you have any better dual lands lying around, if you're lucky enough to have some fetch lands or perhaps some shock lands or something like that, of course, they're going to go really well in place of some of the other cards, perhaps, in the mana base. But other than that, I really want to try this deck out and just kind of see how it plays. It seems like it would be a lot of fun. So, hey, until next time, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks as always for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.